Hey everybody. I wanted to do a very quick review on Little Comic Shop of Horrors number 17, the Goosebumps, in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. This is a book that I read last year, so these are going to be I'm going to have a couple of reviews pop up that aren't really fresh in my mind, but are some that I wanted to kind of catch up with on YouTube. So this is Little Comic Shop of Horrors number 17. Let's look at the cover really quick. We've got a really cool lizard monster ripping up these comics. I love this cover. I've always been a sucker for R.L. Stine's comic book, Goosebumps and stuff. Attack of the Mutants, one of my favorite books of all time. There's a book called Shadow Girl in the Nightmare Room. I haven't read that yet, but I'm hoping it's going to be good. There's one in the Slappy World series called They Call Me the Night Howler, and I loved it too. And it had one of the worst characters in there that I was hoping wouldn't pop up, but it did. But anyway, this Little Comic Shop of Horrors, this story starts off with you and your friends at this comic book shop. You guys are exploring, and they want like a lot of money for all these comics, so your friends leave, but you're still browsing, and you miss your bus to get back home. So you take a shortcut home. You walk through, and you end up popping up at this weird comic book shop you've never noticed before. And you go inside. There is a bunch of these comic books inside this comic book shop that were at this other comic book shop that are now really, really cheap. And this is kind of weird because, like, if you collect books for a long time, you actually have dreams about stuff like this. I have dreams all the time where I'm like thrift shopping and I find like a buttload of like Goosebumps and stuff, and it's just one of those things that like you really, really want to run into one day. So this was very relatable. You go into this comic book shop and you get your first choice. Your first choice is either go to the horror section or go to the rack. And if you go to the horror section, you get it has a no trespassing sign. You get transported through this like slide, and it reminds me of this like the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons, where they go and see these vampires and stuff, and I think Homer like pulls a switch or something and it turns into a slide. That's what it reminded me of. But anyway, under this basement of the comic book shop, you run into a bunch of weird monsters. You got like you got like Frankenstein's monster, you got mummies, you got these hybrids of like a eagle with like tiger stuff. You got like a snake with hair. You got like a snake with a human head, I think. Different things like that. There's even a mention of a Goosebumps monster in this book from the original series, which I loved. And I actually, when I read this, there's a description of this Goosebumps monster that I didn't know. That's like I didn't remember. So, yeah. This storyline is really, really good. There's a reason why you're brought here. I really enjoyed the character or the villain of like what his motives were to bring you into this place. That part was really, really cool. It was very creative. The storyline was really, really good, and it still wasn't my favorite. But yeah, that storyline there was really, really good. That's basically it on that storyline. There is these kids that pop up, and they're different depending on which choices you make or whatever. But there's like Bob, Connie, and there's another character I can't remember, Charlie, I think. And yeah, I don't remember like the specific characteristics of them, but they're these characters that get lost in this maze, and that's basically it. The other storyline is way better. It's more on the humorous side, but it's really, really good. You go to this comic book rack, and the comic book rack spins, and it transports you into this comic book world. And you have to do certain things, or if you get like a bad ending, you turn into a ink splot. And I read that kind of like as blood. That's basically what the ink splot was, and it was really, really cool. This storyline, you learn how to fly. You run into a bunch of superhero knockoffs, like what is it? The Ballistic Bugman, I think, and it's basically Spider-Man, but you're in like the origin part of it, which is really, really cool. And you get bit by this ballistic beetle, or beetle is something like that. You get bit by it, and you get you get an allergic reaction to it. And I thought that was really, really funny. You run into these guys called the Wise Guys, and there's like the leader called Professor Y, and this was like uh, p- um, the knockoff of X-Men, and I thought it was really really great. X-Men was one of my favorite things growing up. Um, and the Wise Guy even has like his name is even starts with a Y, it ends with a Y, and that's like typical in a lot of um old comic books like from Stan Lee and stuff. And it was really really cool. I love this. The storyline is really cool. You learn how to fly, different things like that. You can shoot. You learn how to do like superpowers, like shooting lasers out of your eyes. Yeah, this story was really really good. Like I said, and both storylines were really really good. There was really nothing that was like really weak in this book to me. And I'm running into that with these Give Yourself Goosebumps. There's really not like these earlier ones. There's really nothing to complain about so far. Like the last one I read, the Under the Magician Spell. I didn't really run into any problems. I think the later ones are the ones that were like, in my opinion, the later ones that I've read were kind of um, were kind of weaker. I think. I'm not sure. I haven't read that many, so yeah. But yeah, this book here, I highly recommend it. It's really really good. Little Comic Shop of Horrors. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it a 5, I don't think it's quite perfect. And when you go inside the tunnel or under the thing, you run into these kids, and you get different kids depending on which way you go. And I thought that was kind of, I mean, that was fine, I guess, but like I would much rather have like the same two or something, and they like lead you to different places or something. I thought that would have been a little bit better instead of running into two different kids. But yeah, maybe they're trying to show off that like more kids got lost in this maze or something. Not quite sure. But yeah, Little Comic Shop of Horrors. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend it. It's one of the best books in a series. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought about this book. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for me, guys. And I have a couple of more of these. I'm trying to catch up just to Give Yourself Goosebumps stuff. Stuff that I've read pretty recently that I haven't done on YouTube yet. So be on the lookout. Like I have more that I plan on doing. And the weird thing is, like I read these last year, and for example, I'll give you one that's coming up. It's Escape from Horror House. I don't think I've done a review on YouTube for it yet, and I've reviewed it on Instagram. Like I did a full like long review on Instagram, and I honestly don't remember much about it. Like, and I just read it. Like this was like in March, I think, of last year. So this one I actually remembered a lot more. But if I had to sit here and tell you what Escape from Horror House was about, like without looking at my review, I would not. I probably couldn't tell you much. This one I could. You know, this one's really really good. So yeah, this one's very memorable too. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. That's all for me this time, guys. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about this book if you've read it, or give me some recommendations on some good Give Yourself Goosebumps. There's a guy I commented on, and he gave me a lot. There's a lot of them that I want to tackle this year. So yeah, but I really want to know what like everybody's favorites are. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Bye.